Hey, welcome to Jack's Tech Corner and Photography Weekly. This is episode number 71 for Sunday, December the 9th, 2012. What's coming up in today's show? Glad you asked. Today, we're going to talk first about giving your clients more to increase your overall profits. And I'm going to show you a couple ways, even if you're not right now charging for your pictures, or even if you're working with some clients. These are some interesting ways. So this first part is going to simply be to teach you how to increase your overall profits and make your clients very, very happy with you. Next, a lot of you have been emailing me already because you know that I purchased the Elements kit, Photoshop Elements and Photoshop Elements Premiere 11. So today, the second half of this show is we're going to learn how to build our first slideshow using Elements 11 and everything that goes into that, and there's a bunch of information there. So I would suggest that you pick up your pencils and paper, have those ready for this information. Hopefully I can pull this off and it's going to work out right for us today, and we're going to get started. So let's get started here with episode number 71. Okay, so let's give our official shout outs this morning here to everyone, and I'd like to welcome everybody back here to another Sunday morning. Glad you were able to attend this virtual class session today. Today we're going to be meeting with Andy Taylor, Dina, Flyer here, Jake the Snake, Jody, June, Mike JP1, Peter in the UK, Serena, Triggs, and Vicky. So that is our official group today, and if you're not in the chat room, please come over to the chat room. If you're just kind of lurking watching the video, you'll want to get in the chat room because there's a lot of back-end conversation that goes on with any of these type of shows when you're producing something like this. And you know, a lot of people chit chat and chatter about the topics being discussed, and a lot of people have other ideas too, and that's great. We get a lot of input from a lot of different folks here. So, with that said, I'm just going to catch up in the chat room here this morning, see if anything major is going on. Let's see here. And Flyer here is talking about an IRC chat client, and I am so bad at procrastinating over this thing. I told you guys I would teach you how to actually be able to get into an IRC chat client. And if you use a Mac or Windows, it makes it a lot easier, and it's guaranteed you'll be connected to that thing. That's what I'm connected to on the iPad. I'm using an IRC client on here, and I can get you all those actual settings. So, with that said, hope you had a great week this week. Hope you got the camera out. I actually did pack the camera up yesterday. I packed it up with a 50mm lens and my 12x24. I threw it in the case, put it in the car, drove around with it for about 6 or 7 hours as we were shopping. I had these great plans of taking that camera out, taking some shots, you know, and I got home, I brought the camera case in, and the camera and lenses are still in the case. How many times did that happen to you? Many, I bet, right? But that's the joys of photography, I guess. I'm trying to learn, and I hope you folks out there learn too. You know, stick that 35mm in a small case and carry it with you. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but let me show you here. This just happens to be a very, very small little case I picked up, a little low pro case, and it's just big enough to pack a camera in here without having to carry my big camera bag. So I can pack a camera in here and one lens, and it's just big enough for that, and it's pretty doggone light. So you know, there's no flashes in there, no light stands, nothing crazy. Just a camera, a couple lenses, because you don't know what you're going to walk into, right? So, anyhow, I just wanted to show you that. So with that said, we're going to talk today. I have a presentation I'm going to do here. I've never tried to do this before with this group and with you guys, but when I teach live in-house classes, I do a lot of presenting, right? You present something. People go, oh, Geez, not another PowerPoint, because who wants to watch a PowerPoint? That's the most boring thing in the world. So I'm not going to bore you with PowerPoint because I use Keynote. Keynote is a program on the Mac, and okay, it's much like PowerPoint slides, but I'm not going to bore you with 50 billion transitions, and I don't do that with this stuff. It's just a straight out little presentation, and we're going to learn today how you can make more money from your clients. And the approach that I'm starting to take, thanks to folks like Mike JP, twisting my arm many times, and we'll get into that in a few minutes, about something that he always thought was the right thing to do, and I used to fight him on it. But I'm not going to fight you anymore, Mike, because I think it is the right thing to do, and I have this new business model. I'm going to share it with you folks, because I like to share what I do. So let me get started with that. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is bringing more to your clients and bringing more return to you. That's my object of this little presentation I'm going to give you here first, and then we'll talk about the creating of the slideshow. So hopefully this is all going to work out okay. First thing is to always remember to give is to receive. And what I mean by that, any business model you talk about, if you give something to your clients, and I know that sounds a far stretch, right? But I'll explain myself. But if you give yourself or give something to your clients for their money, then you're going to receive a whole lot more money in the backside on the return. And we're going to show you how that works here in just a second. Now, a lot of photographers out there, I know they give too much, right? They give the whole kitchen sink, the whole enchilada. They just give it away. Here's your pictures. Thanks, you paid me a $50 sitting fee. We don't call it sitting fees, do we? No, we don't call it that. We call it a session fee. Because why would you pay anybody in the world to sit down, right? Or why would you charge them to sit? So we call it a session fee. It's a new word because we have to be politically correct. That's why we do things like this, guys. Now, with that said, so but we give too much because many people say $50. Here's your CD. There's 200 pictures on there. I edited every picture. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. Very high resolution. And thanks for your $50, right? And you have 6 hours tied up in the whole thing because you didn't only shoot the session for the hour. You spent 5 hours with the 200 pictures or whatever pictures you went over. Okay, it could be 40, but you still spent your time. Now, people do expect return for their investments or return for their money. And you do, I'm sure. And I've sold, and probably a lot of you have purchased the DVDs that I have online. I tried at one time to sell a downloadable DVD or downloadable videos. And the response I got was 0 because people don't physically have anything for their money. It's just basic business model. You have to have something in your hand for that money. And when they receive the DVD, they have something. Even if they copy them to their computer after that, they do have it. Now, in the business we live in, it's a world of make-believe. Now, I don't know if you can, I guess you can't see my notes now. I guess I get to see them as a presenter. And I can't see them very well in here, but what I mean by that simply is the world of make-believe. How many stores in your area where you live, I know we have quite a few here, that have a one-day sale every day, right? Guaranteed lowest prices. Guaranteed? I guess in their book they're guaranteeing it, so it's a guaranteed lowest price to them. So in the business community in whole, it is the world of make-believe. We've had contractors come to the house, and they start looking and they give you a price. And sometimes you have to be careful because that price might not include everything that you need for that job. Take your car for tires. Tires are $59.95 a tire. Great. You get the bill and you found out it was actually $65 a tire. How come? Because they didn't tell you about the valve stem they're going to put in, the balancing of the tire, and the front end alignment, right? That should be included, right, in the tire. But so it is a world of make-believe. So we shall give to the client, but how much are we going to give? I'm going to tell you that in just a minute. Now, each photo shoot that I do, this is where Mike JP comes in. I'm going to offer an image CD. Now, I just told you earlier, don't give them the bank, right? Don't do a $50 shoot, and I know a lot of you getting started. I did it. When we get started, we charge $50 or $100 and say, here's a CD. Go to Walmart or Kinko's or wherever you want to go and have those pictures developed. Great, and they're going to do that, and that's fine. As long as your edits are done and you're comfortable with what it looks like. What I used to complain to Mike about a lot is, my theory has always been, if they get that printed off, what's going to happen is the quality might not be there, be up to your standards, and then they're going to give or show an inferior product with your name on it or attached to it, and that's not good. But there's a lot of benefits on the back end of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them about 100. Now I'm talking wedding because you guys know I shoot weddings. So if I shoot a wedding and I shoot 1,000 pictures, out of that 1,000 pictures, the bride and groom are probably going to see 400 to 500 of those pictures, roughly. Now, out of that 400 or 500, or out of that 1,000, I'm going to give them 100 pictures. Now, the way I do it is I'm going to give them 100 pictures, but it's not going to be anything that they're going to see when I sit down with them. These are 100 pictures I just want them to have. And you set the resolution. If you're using Lightroom or Photoshop, you can do this. Just do a batch. Set the resolution when you export those pictures so they won't print anything above an 8x10. Now you see the value of this whole little seminar we're having this morning, right? This little session. What we want to do is we want to make our money on the larger prints, right? That's where money's at. It's big prints. So you want to sell to your clients 11x14s and above. They can only print out, even those 100 pictures, they can only print out 8x10s. So if they have one of those prints that they said, wow, they come back to me and say, Jack, I really love this 8x10. Can I have this as a 20x30 or 16x20? I'm like, absolutely. And they order it through me. I place the order with one of my developers that you want to use, SmugMug or one of the other publishers out there. And you deliver that to your client. That's how you make money on the back end. So now, also on the image CD, what I like to do and ask people to do is post some of the images on Facebook, on their Facebook wall. Because when you're taking pictures of a family portrait, I know a lot of you guys do family pictures, a lot of you guys do senior pictures. If that senior takes that picture and puts it on their Facebook wall, and then they tag your Facebook page, your studio's Facebook page in it, what's going to happen is you're going to start picking up more clients because those folks actually seen those pictures. So those 100 pictures you gave out, they're already starting to pay you back. Now, so like I said, here's now the one client is turning into many. And if you want to get a few prints, or if they want to get a few prints, it's going to be okay because on that disc they can print 8x10. So how do you make money? How are you going to make your money? As I said earlier, you're going to make it on the big prints. 11x14s, 16x20s, 20x30s, bigger than that if you wish. Our digital cameras are great machines because they shoot at this great high resolution. Now, when they shoot that high resolution, it's going to capture great detail, and you can blow these prints up. I mean, I just ordered a 20x30 of a shot that I did recently of a landscape shot. So these cameras will blow up and it looks gorgeous. Now, so people have to pay you for the larger prints. And people, believe me, people expect to pay more for these because I think it is, when you're shooting 4x6 and you tell somebody a 4x6 is $4 or $6, some wedding photographers I've seen charge 4x6s could be $10 for a 4x6. But they got a comparable place to do this, because if you're walking through your local discount store that has a photo kiosk and you walk through it, you're going to look and it's going to say 4x6, 19 cents, right? It could be as low as 7 cents. And you're telling them you want $6 for a 4x6? It doesn't set well in their mind, which it wouldn't set well in mine either, seriously. I mean, that's just, it doesn't make sense, right? We know that the quality is different and the paper's better and the print's better, the color correction's better. We know that as photographers. But you know, as the common public, when I get my car worked on, I don't care if it's a Champion spark plug or an Acer spark plug, or just change the plugs, right? That's not a concern of mine. And I want the best for the least. A friend of mine made the statement the other day. He says, we live in a world and a time of good enough will do. And I told him, that's the greatest statement I've ever heard in my life. As long as it's good enough, then it'll be fine. It'll suffice, right? For most people. So anyway, that's what we're doing here. Now, the next part is what we're going to look at today is slideshows. I don't know why that changed there. Is going to be slideshows. Now, what slideshows are going to do is bring you a lot more buck for your time. It takes some time, but as you sit down and get better and better at it, you're going to be able to see the pictures you want. You're going to know what you want to take, and you're going to know where they're going to fit in on your timeline of your slideshow. That's going to be the key part and the very important part of this show today, is showing you how to build that slideshow. So you know how to order prints, right? Everybody can order your prints. And it doesn't matter to me where you order them from. You know that SmugMug, and SmugMug is a front end. I don't know if any of you knew this, but when you use SmugMug, it's a front end. You're paying them to store your pictures and to order through them. But the actual developer is not SmugMug. The actual developer you can choose from, I think there's three. It's WHCC, I think it's White House something. They do, or White House Color Corrections, or I don't know, but they do printing. Bay Photo's another one, and then there's another one in there also that does printing for them, where your pictures will go. So now we're going to start learning on how to build a slideshow using Premium 11. So that's what we're up to now, and actually we made it through it a good part here, because, and hopefully you got some good notes. Came back at the last slide. So the slideshow was not visible. Is that what you're saying? It was not visible at all. You couldn't see it. How about this? What I wanted you to see that, because it gives you the indication of the power of how well that slideshow works when you're creating this in Premiere Elements 11. How about if we take a few minutes, and I'm going to replay just the slideshow, not on the keynote, but let me set this up and we'll just play it, and you guys will be able to watch it and see that coming through. So let me go ahead and do this now. It'll only take me a second to set that up. Then we can play it and you guys will be able to see it. It seems to me that every time I go to, for some strange reason, Okay, very, very good. Okay, so you guys get the general idea then. You folks do get the general idea out there of how the slideshow works, how important it is. I do want to address a couple statements I've seen coming through the chat room before I take a short little 3-minute break here today. But the one thing I did see coming through the chat room from Jake the Snake was asking me, have I ever found anybody that don't know or doesn't have a computer for the CD? And actually, Jake, if you're talking about the CDs that we're working on now, the slideshow CDs, you can actually, you'll turn that into a DVD and it'll just play in their DVD player at home. Now the CDs and the DVDs I've mailed out, the ones I've produced, I've actually found people that own computers that didn't know that the computer did not have a DVD drive in it. I've had that a lot. They've been returned because they only have a CD drive. So, you know, they put it in, it doesn't work, right? It doesn't read it, can't read it because it's a CD drive. Now, a couple other things I want to address is, one, I seen that Jessica put in a chat room and somehow got disconnected on my laptop. So I'm just going by what I remember from the other screen over here. Jessica put on there that she has to finish watermarking some of her pictures. Now, there's a lot of that to be said. I really like, and you guys all know Fabian. I like how Fabian watermarks his, where his name of his photography studio is on the bottom. Did you ever see that's like on the bottom of the picture? I don't like people watermarking pictures in the middle, because guess what that takes away? It takes away your creativeness. When you take that picture, and I know Jessica recently did a family portrait shoot, and that's where it's nice with having the Facebook group, because I know what you guys are doing, a lot of you anyway, what you're out there shooting. Now, if you take that what did I say? If you take that family shot, so you take that family shot and you put across their, you know, Jessica's photography studio, and put it right across their faces, and one, they're not going to post it on their Facebook wall, and two, they're not going to want to share that with any of their friends. And I know you're trying to protect your intellectual property because you're the photographer, and I understand that. I feel the same way. But there has to be a drawing line when you do these, folks, because I know Zach was down here one day. A lot of you know that Zach is my son, and he's just getting into photography. And for better or for worse, I showed him that you can, like, you know, there's some software out there, and I can't tell you which softwares, but there's some software out there that when it's a demo, to watermark, put demo. I showed you get rid of that in Photoshop. So whatever you do to watermark it, somebody's pretty crafty can probably get rid of it anyway. So, and I'm not coming down on you personally, Jessica. You just happen to put the statement up there, so I'm just making this general statement to everybody, and I know I'm guilty of it too. I used to put Memories by Jack right across my pictures. I used to put them across the bottom. Now, if I do any watermarking at all, I just sign it. And if I print the pictures for the client, my name's not on the picture itself, naturally. Yours probably is not either. If you want to do back printing, that's fine. Put your studio name on the back of the picture. A lot of developers will do that. And put your phone number on there. Because over the course of the years, you know, say you shoot some baby pictures, and the next time they call you is for the a 5-year-old birthday party, and they're like, who was that great person that shot those baby pictures? They're so beautiful. But I can't remember their phone number. At least if you have, if they would think maybe, hey, it's on the back of the picture. So watermarking, be careful. I do like sites like SmugMug because it gets rid of the right-click thing, but again, you can get around it. If you go to 500 pics, and I should tell you guys because I know mine's protected on there, just like yours is. But if you go to 500 pics, that's 500px.com. The picture comes up, you right-click it, says this is intellectual, this is protected. If you take a screenshot and put that into Photoshop and just crop it, you're going to have the picture anyway. It's a pretty decent resolution. You can use it on your computer monitors, so maybe as wallpaper. I'm not here to teach you to still. I'm here to teach you the realistic portion of protecting your property, and I don't know how to do that. It's a digital print. I don't know the all soothsayer and sage way to protect your stuff. So hopefully that's helping you out there. And I do thank you guys for talking about the ring shot from Andy Taylor. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me when you guys are seeing the work and you like it. And Jessica loves the flowers, and I appreciate that also. Now, is there an optimum position that doesn't spoil the picture but stops them copying the photo, Andy? Like I just said, Andy, I want to pretty much not. There's no surefire way of getting people not to steal the picture. You know, and I think, and I'm becoming more and more prone to this, is not, let me think how to put this correctly. I push SmugMug and I use SmugMug, but what I'm not going to do, unless it's, I'm going to do a lot of sports shooting here coming up, and that's a little different because you hand out business cards and, you know, Peggy Sue goes and she gets pictures of Johnny Sue, or Johnny Jr. Shooting basketball hoops. That's fine. She buys 2 or 3 pictures. You know, you make $10. She's happy. You're happy. But if I go to do a family shoot or if I go to do a wedding shoot, no more am I going to say, go to this website, look at the pictures, order what you want. Those days from me are gone. I'm not doing that any longer, even though they're protected. Because the reason I don't want to do that anymore is I want to sit down with them. They're going to have a CD of some of the pictures, and I want to show them the pictures I really truly like. And I think it's better to work with your client that way, and you order the pictures. And I used to be a big whatever. I used to push this a lot, where I used to have everything always shipped to me because I would go through them one at a time to make sure it's what I expected. Did you ever get a picture printed and you get it back and the head's cropped off, right? Because you shot it too tight, or an arm's just not, you know, when you look at it on the computer, it looks fairly good, but you have it printed in that crop factor. Yeah, I usually get them delivered to me. So, Jody says she puts hers in the bottom corner. Again, that's great, Jody, because it's not obtrusive. You know what I mean? You want your thing on there. You want it to be on there as a watermark. And we could do a class one Sunday if you guys want to. I'll show you that I could pull a watermark pretty easy, especially with the new Photoshop. If you use Photoshop CS6 and that patch tool, you highlight it and just slide it up and it just blends right into whatever else up above it or below it. I mean, 1/4 of a second, it's done. So anyhow, again, I'm not teaching you to steal out there. I'm just teaching you how do we protect our intellectual property. It's ours, right? It belongs to us. And Jessica just saw one of her pictures from a race as a person's Facebook profile with nothing on it. So in other words, Jessica, I guess you're saying you watermarked it and it's on her profile picture. Now there's not, your watermark's not there, right? And I know where might have she got the picture from is the first thing I would ask you. Where did you have it posted at? And if they do, that's fine. Maybe on their Facebook wall say, hey, look, send them a message. Say, hey, look, I see you used a picture that I took as your profile picture, and you know, as heart-wrenching as that is to you, say, could you please maybe tag my Facebook page in there, and then you can get more business off of that picture. So you might want to do that. That'd be a way around it, I guess. And Jeff talked about how about reducing the size, and that's exactly right. Jeff, if you reduce the size, especially when you guys are putting them on the web, unless you're putting them on the web for sale, and if you do that, use one of the, there's many of them. I know the SmugMug does it, and there's many more out there that will do it, where you can put them on, and if they right click, it won't do anything. And I know with mine now, I limit it to a large picture, so when they go to bring it up full screen, the resolution is still so much, it's good enough for the web, but if they cut it off of that page and print it, it might be a wallet size, might be okay. So just a way to get around that. Andy. Yeah, and you're just trying to figure out what others do. So Peter in the UK, I did find a picture that looked okay, but it had a faint watermark on it. Did not see it till I blew it up. Okay. Okay, so she did, Jessica. She mentioned you in the comment, and that's good. I mean, you got something from your property, and you can't. Here's the thing, folks, and I did this recently because if you noticed, I built that logo or had that logo made, and the logo originally came from Google Images. Now, I'm not lying about that. I found it. I gave it to one of our students at school, and I said, "Here, can you redraw this or do something different?" And I talked to the art teacher. Here's the art teacher's take on your picture that's watermarked or whatever. If I would use the image exactly as it was, I had to pay somebody for that image, for the use of that image. If that image was altered in any way, that image became mine. So she put my little JTC on the hat. The camera she changed from point and shoot to 35 millimeter. Even though the whole concept of the picture stayed the same, that picture became mine. And now I actually own that picture. Now, with that said, Jessica, I'm saying, so if your picture's on there and your name's on the bottom and they crop it, it's a stretch, but they crop it, they altered the original picture that you put up. Even though you took it, it could be theirs. I mean, it's just a weird place out there, the internet, you know. And believe me, and you folks know, I'm not, what do they say, I'm not preaching to the choir. You folks know this to be sure, okay? The way I look at it, if I don't want you to steal my pictures, if I'm worried about you taking it off my website, if I'm worried about you cropping my name off of it, if I'm worried about watermarking it, don't put it on the internet, okay? Just don't do it, right? But we're the type of people, we as photographers, we want everybody to see our work and go, oh, that's really nice, right? That's a good shot. We like that. How do you get that if we print them and lay them in a box in our house? Nobody's going to see them, right? So it's the bad with the good. You know, everybody always told me, even when I sold internet services years and years ago, they said, well, if my son gets on the internet, there's a lot of bad stuff out there. Yeah, but there's also a lot of good out there. And there's a lot of good people out there that's going to look at your images and say, I love it. I want to buy that from Peter in the UK. It's a beautiful image, and I'll pay him $100 for it because I love it. I want it hanging in my house. There's going to be people out there that says, I don't know who that Peter guy is. He's probably a multi-billionaire. I'll just cut it off his website and take it for free. And there's people out there like that. And you guys know that. Okay, let's see. Okay, somebody's going for a 2-hour drive in the snowstorm, so have a great day. Thanks for coming. And I will, tineye.com. It's a free site that can check to see if anyone is using your photos. I like that. We'll try that out. And yeah, Teresa, I think it is. Have a great drive. Be very, very careful. Okay, let's take a short little break and come back. Hopefully nobody else has to leave because you're going to want to see this next segment, especially if you purchased Photoshop Elements, Premiere Elements. And we are going to run over. I can guarantee you that, and I'm sorry. So if not, I mean, you can catch the YouTube rerun of this, and hopefully I'll have it up probably tomorrow if I get some editing today. So let's go and take a short little couple-minute break there, and I'll be right back with you, and we'll go right into learning a little bit of Photoshop Elements Premiere and how you can build a slideshow. I'd like to thank you once again for watching Photography Weekly each and every week, and I wanted to say a special thank you and a little short commercial break here for our sponsors of this show. First and foremost, let me send out my special invitation to you there to come over to jackstechcorner.com. I have a brand new Elements 10 Volume 1 DVD, and it's going for $20. And if you pull down menu down, you'll see a lot of other options in there for you also. Or if you'd rather, instead of learning on a DVD, and if you have high-speed internet, you may want to sign up for one of my online classes. The online classes are there for you, and they are on Lightroom 4 for all. It's a very easy way to learn Lightroom 4. And there is a Elements 10 class, actually the one on DVD, that will be coming out as a online class. So you will have actually that option also. Next, let me thank our friends over at SmugMug. SmugMug is where I do all my professional printing at, and I wish that you would sign up also. If you go to my website, jackstechcorner.com, on the left-hand side there's links. If you click on that link and enter the special code, you'll get a 20% discount. And that's huge because the Pro version is $150. So if you take 20% for that, you're going to be good to go. Save a ton of money and start making money right away. Or you can use them for all your personal printing needs for whatever type of photography printing you want to do. Next, if you do any green screen photography, then check out Ken's site, greenscreenwizard.com. Once again, go to my website, jackstechcorner.com, click on the link on the left, and that way Ken will know that you're coming from Jack's Tech Corner. Once again, that's greenscreenwizard.com for all your green screen photography and now video needs. And a special hello and thank you to our friends over at Amazon.com. If you're buying anything from Amazon, and man, don't we all buy from Amazon anyway? Go to my website, jackstechcorner.com. On the left again, click on the link to go to Amazon before you buy anything. That gives us like a 1% deal there of your total sell. So it helps the site out here, it helps us out, and it keeps it so we can buy new equipment to keep bringing you these great shows and keep on going. So if you're buying from Amazon, just go ahead and click that link and buy as you normally would. And I'd like to thank our HDR sponsors, HDR Soft and Photomatics. Photomatics does a great job. I'm using the Pro version now, Photomatics Pro 4.2, and the Lightroom plugin, and it is absolutely fantastic how it's integrated with Lightroom. So once again, that's Photomatics by HDR Soft, and you'll find those at hdrsoft.com. Download the trial version today. You won't be upset or disappointed. So that's it. Let's get back onto the show here and more learning. All right, the first thing we're going to do to build a slideshow in Premiere Elements is we're going to have to find the pictures we want to use, right? That would make the most sense. Now, how do we do that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to import new pictures because I already showed you this particular slideshow that I built. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to import new pictures, and that's what we're going to work on. So if I go to File, Get New Photos from Files and Folders. And we are going to use we'll use another set of wedding pictures here. Let's see what we got here. We'll see what we are. All right, I'm not going to add too many because I want to make us as not really quick. I want to make this as efficient as possible to show you folks how to do this and how easy it is. So I'm just going to select this many pictures, and we'll just get media. We'll import those, and you know how to do that already. Now, here's the actual pictures we're going to use in our slideshow. Now, what I like to do is get the pictures I want to use, make sure I have those. You can even go as far as start moving your pictures around. Say, these are obviously all wedding pictures here, and we probably don't want to have two of the same picture, so I'm going to delete that one from this catalog here and take that out. That looks pretty good. But let's say we want these flowers up here and move them around. It doesn't want to move for us, but that's okay. All right. Anyhow, so we have these pictures laid out. What we want to do first is, and to make it easier on us, is we're going to select all of these pictures we newly imported, and we are going to create a new album. So you already know how to do that. We're just in the regular organizer in Photoshop Elements. That's all this is. So if you're using Lightroom or any of those other programs, you could just pull your pictures in to Elements Premiere, but I would suggest do it in the organizer. It's just a lot cleaner to get everything done. And we're going to say MASTRO wedding. And we'll hit OK or create. And that will create it. So up here now, we now have an album called Mastro Wedding. So with that said, what we're going to do now is click on that, do edit, select all, and we're going to right click on it, and we're going to open them in Photoshop Elements Premiere. All right. So now that we have those open over here in our Elements Premiere, we are going to see that in the project assets, these pictures that we just pulled in are our assets. That's our pictures. Now, today we're just going to be talking about this simply for slideshow, just as a still photographer. I'll talk to you another time about doing some video, but whatever you bring in, video, stills, or audio, is all a part of your assets. It's all over here on this side. Make sure you can see my mouse right there. Okay, so now you can see it. Good. Down here at the bottom is the timeline. Right here at the bottom is the timeline. Now, with that timeline, and Serena, Elements 10 will also do a slideshow, but you want Elements 10 Premiere. Premiere is the video editing package that you can buy with Elements. So it's another package there altogether. But this is going to allow us to build a slideshow and use all the great features in here and be able to work on it even better than in Elements. Because when you're in Elements, it's pretty much, you throw it together, you put some music, and you kind of get what you get. So this will give you a lot more detail that you can play around with. So let's go ahead and look at that. So we have this stuff. We're good at this. And down here, as I said, this is our timeline. Now you can go to the quick mode up here at the top, switch to quick view, and you'll see here, we're going to open this timeline up over here on the right, just to open it up. These are our pictures right here. So when you start playing around with this, you may want to start in what's known as the quick mode. It's a very easy mode to use. And you can put your transitions in right here. All you do is drag them and drop them right in to these little gray parts here on the bottom. And that'll put your transitions in. So it's very easy to use. But we are in the expert mode today because everybody knows how I like to go more into the expert mode. We again have the pictures down here because we pulled our view bar out over here on the right. And we made it bigger so we can see the timeline. And anywhere you put this marker is the picture that's going to be shown. Okay, just like so. Now, what you want to do first of all, before you get started doing anything else, looking for music or whatever, you're going to want to start by adding your transitions into here and doing any title work or any other things you want to put on it. So let's go ahead and do that. So if you look on the bottom of the program itself down here, and you see this? Let me see here. We might have to pull the picture in picture out of there. We'll put it over here. We'll make it smaller. We'll just move it over here. Okay, so down here in the bottom is where we're looking now. This is where, again, you click on the transitions, but it also has titles, effects, music, and graphics. I'm just going to show you transitions today. Right now, you can see where it just says 3D motion. But if you click the pull-down menu and say show all, you'll get every one in there. And you're going to start playing around saying, wow, there's some I really like more than others. Like, I like these 3D explosion effects. I think they're pretty cool. So if I want to use them, I click on it. You'll see the little transition go in there to show you what it looks like. Left click on it with your mouse and just drag it over. And what you want to do is drop it right in between two of the pictures. So you can see the little arrow there. So just drop it. And it's going to ask you, do you want it to be on the left clip? You want it to be on the left clip, so of your picture, the left picture, in between the pictures, or on the right picture. I like to choose in between the pictures and then choose done. What that will give us then, if we play that, you can just hit your spacebar and play it. You can see that now there's a transition between those two. Just like so. This is a normal transition. Watch. There's another one. So those are just the normal transitions in between those. If you double click it, you can actually change the time on each one of those. Click on more, we can change the transition that happens to be in there. But what I like to do again is come over here to the right, click on transitions, click on one and pull it back over and just drop it wherever you want to drop it. Again, we'll put it between and we're done. And what I'm doing to play this, if you anytime you want to look at this and hold your mouse button down, I mean not your mouse, hit your space bar and that'll start playing it. All right, just like so. All right. Once we have that done, you have your transitions and you want to have in there and everything looks the way you want it. What you're going to do now is you have to find some music. Now, the place I like to get music from, let me just bring it up here, is called freeplaymusic.com. If someone has to put that in the chat room, you can definitely do that. freeplaymusic.com. Now, what's nice about this, I'm going to need headphones on so I can hear some of this music. What's nice about this is you can go through here and you will pick out what kind of music you're looking for. I used acoustic guitars, is what I was playing with earlier with the other wedding one I did. But when you do that, you're going to have a bunch of different ones you can play with. Now, they give you the samples. If you look at preview, and then they give you the MP3 downloads, you can download it. And they're all based on seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 21 seconds. So let's say we're going to listen to this one. I hit this. That's pretty cool, but it's a little bit more jamming than what I really want. And I want something a little bit more melody. A little rough around the edges. You can read these too. Rock, acoustic. See, melody, the tempo is mid to fast. Here's the slow to medium. Let's look at this tempo here. Maybe it's something we want. Okay, so we'll say, well, yeah, that looks okay, I guess. For this demonstration, it looks pretty good. Now, what I like to do is most of your slideshows are going to be longer than 30 seconds. I would hope so, if you're selling it to a client. So let's go to MP3, and it says 2 minutes and 9 seconds. We're going to click on that. And we can actually save that file. Now, we're going to download it. So click on Save File. Now, under Music, I made a folder called Slideshows. I would suggest you probably should do the same thing on your computer because you're going to start getting more and more and more. And then you can rename it however you want to rename these. I'm going to just say Slide 2. I'll click Save. All right. Now that we have that, and if you look at Free Play Music, they have a lot of different licensing things in there for you. The big thing I would say is when you use any music you find on the internet is check to see if the owner of it is actually going to license it to you. But when you put this stuff on YouTube or anything like that, you're going to run into a problem. Even Facebook took one of mine down. One of the ones we had like a tribute to, you know how we do our lessons. They took it down because there was free music on it. It came from Apple, and I still don't know to this day why they did that. But we're going to get rid of that, get rid of this, and close this. Now, let's go back to our project assets right here. And we're going to add media. So if you click on Add Media, go down to Files and Folders. We're going to add that music. That's why I said if you go to Music and you saved it in Slideshow, Slide 2, I'm going to just import that. So now it's here and I can use it in my slideshow. To do that, it's very easy. I click on it and I'm going to just drag it down to my slideshow. Now you're going to notice one thing is it's too long, right? So the first thing I like to do here is on the front side of this, we're going to go to here and we'll actually clip that off, that front piece right there, because to me that's kind of like the dead spot, right? Let's go to edit, and we just want to clip that off there. Well, let me see here where it's at. Oh, timeline, split clip. Okay, so we split the clip there. Under timeline, go to split clip, and it's dark green. Hit the delete button. Now, reverse that. Undo that. Click on the piece that you just cut and make it light green. Hit the delete button. Then grab the other part and just pull it up to match the beginning. Now let's see what we have. Let's look at our slideshow now. Okay, it might not be the exact music that you want, but you get the idea now how easy it is to put audio on there. Now, the last thing I have in my notes that I want to share with you today is how do we get that pan and tilt thing? How do we make it so the pictures move? Because I believe if you give a little bit of movement in your pictures, it's going to make it more pleasing to the viewer because it feels more like that movie, right? It feels like more like it's like a movie thing. So let me show you how to do that. So we have this one selected with these folks in it. All we have to do is come over here to Tools and go to Tools, slide this down, click on Pan and Zoom. And it's going to open it up here. And I found you can use more than 2 boxes. You can use 3, 4. You can put a lot of movement to these things. But what's going to happen here is box 1 is what it's going to start out as. That's how the picture opens up, this box 1. You can take this and crop this down. We can move this down a little bit if we wish. We can move it around if we wish, just like so. Say we want more of her flowers. We will bring this up some. Bring this up a little bit. And we'll just bring it up above her heads. Right about there. Then box 2 is where is it going to end up? Where is the final picture going to move up to? So again, let's just take this. And we're going to move that up. We are going to move this up. And we're just going to put it up here on their heads. Right about there. Once you get that done, all you have to do is click on Done. Now, when you do this, if your music's already cut off here in the bottom, you're going to find that you're going to lose audio because you can see it's adding something in our timeline. It's adding more space into that picture to create that transition. That's what's happening. So again, let me show you this over here. Let's do the cake also. So we'll do the cake. Go to Tools, Pan and Zoom, and let's look at where we want to start this at. Again, we want the cake. Cake. Get that one done again. Close that out. Okay, we want the cake, so I got it highlighted. Let's go to Pan and Zoom. And there's our cake. Now let me show you the third box. So I'm going to do 3 boxes this time, just so you guys get the general idea of how this works. Don't want to lose the chat room there. Okay. So here's our first box. We're going to pull this up to show the cake. All right. Here is the second box. We're going to move this around. You can see in here, this is where it's going to travel. See this little arrow here? This is how it's going to travel. So we want it to go from there, but we want it to go onto maybe the mid part of the cake. And this is nice too if you're not, even if you're not doing a wedding. Say you're doing a picture with somebody skiing down a mountainside and you grab a picture. You can keep bringing that skier up. There's a lot of ways you can do this. Let's add a new frame. This would be frame number 3. Here's frame number 3. Again, let's blow it up. And this time we'll just pull on these flowers at the top. So let's give it a little bit of room. Right about there. And we'll hit done. Now you can see how long the timeline got between this where we started was here. Now it's all the way over here because it has so many of those movements in it, right? So it has to spread the time out a little bit. Once you're done with everything, you're finished up. Bring your marker to the end. And all you want to do here is you can click on the scissors even and cut that. Click on that and delete it. And there it goes. It's gone. So the end of your timeline is going to end. Your music's going to end. Everybody's happy. It was a beautiful slideshow. Clap, clap, clap. It's wonderful. So let's click here and we're going to show you how these new movements, these pan and tilts work. So let's check this out. And that's the end of your slideshow. Clap, clap, clap. Everybody's happy. It's a wonderful thing. And it's a perfect little slideshow. So there you go. Okay. So that is, looks like, anyway, what I wanted to show you on that. The last part I had to show you is, and you guys have been with me a long time, and you've seen a lot of my editing. I always leave out, Jack, what's the last step? So many people, once you create something in Photoshop and do something in Elements, how do you get it printed? How do you save it as a JPEG? I always miss that. So let me show you that. The last step that you're going to do, and I got to move me around here a little bit. Let's move this down here. Is you're going to come up here to the top where it says Publish and Share. Top right-hand side of the program. Publish and Share. We have Web DVD. We have a disc. We can burn the disc or Blu-ray. So you can put the DVD in there, build a menu, and do that. Online, so you can upload to video sharing, such as YouTube, Vimeo, is that it? There's another one out there called that. So you have a lot of places you can do that. Computer, or you could do it mobile phones and players. So if you want to make it even a smaller little file, you can do that. And that might be nice if you're giving something to a client. You say, hey, I'm going to send this to you to play on your mobile phone because they're going to share it with people, and then it's going to give you more clout. So that's a couple ways you can do that. I usually do it to the computer. I click on this. It will ask you what kind of formatting, and don't do Flash unless you're going to put it on a web page. I normally do MPEG, MPEG. Give it a title. We'll call this Test 2. All right. And movie slideshow. That's Chris. That's where the last one was. It gives you the resolution and everything. Let's hit save. We're just going to burn that out there. And what that's going to do, it's going to have to re-render that. So it's going to render it and turn it into an actual movie. And believe me, this takes a lot. If your computers are older, it's going to take you even more to render this down because it's a big process the way it's doing the building into a movie or the mathematical equations to get that into a movie. Okay, so the save is complete. Okay, and Cheryl was asking, I've seen that in the chat room there. I'm going to go back here and try to do this. She asked if you can fade this music out. Right here, if you can fade that music out, you can go to fade and fade in audio or fade out audio. Can you see that? So what I did was I came back, I clicked on my music, I right clicked and go to fade. Fade in, fade out. Let's fade out. And there you go. That's how you'd fade it out. So yeah, you can definitely fade out. You can fade it in. You can raise your audio. If you have a bad piece of music and you're like, it's pretty bad, you can right click on it. We can do audio gains. We can detect beats. There's so much we can do and so much we can get into. And I'm sure over the course of time teaching more and more of Photoshop Elements Premiere, I'll show you that to you. Let me go back to the chat room here and see what's going on to see. I did catch that question. Okay. And Jessica, I'm glad this class helped you out. And I know you posted a while back in the one group we created there that you wanted to learn more about Premiere because you purchased it. Gloria said it's pretty neat. Cheryl, we showed you can fade the music out. Exactly. Thanks to everybody out there for watching the show. I'm very sorry it did run over, but I believe from what I've been hearing already, it was worthwhile to have that Elements Premiere session in there. And I hope that you start using it to build your slideshows. I will be showing you in the future how to use it to do some video stuff. And we'll be talking more about video and editing and green screening. And there's just so much you can do with that program now that's going to open up all kind of possibilities for you. So you'll be good to go. So for next week's assignment, I thought this is what the assignment's going to be. If you're still in there with me, or if you want to post on the Facebook group, I'd appreciate you doing so. We are going to call it freestyle. We want to see your best work. It's the holidays. Everybody's taking great pictures. Maybe even do some, I think they call it bokeh. Maybe, do I have that right? I don't really do a lot of that. But what's really cool is to take pictures of somebody with the Christmas lights behind them and have the Christmas lights kind of blur out there in soft focus, right? The depth of field just kind of works right out, but your person is focused. That's nice. Maybe pets in front of your trees, ornaments in the trees. Those are nice. So, but we're going to call it just a free range week. Get your best work and get them in there. And I will put an assignment folder up. It will be assignment folder 71. Put the pictures in there. Then I'll know that you want them shown next week. So again, it's open game. And I know you can shoot these. Shoot them with anything. iPhones, smartphones, cameras, whatever you want to take a picture with, your iPad. I don't care. But get it in there so we can see your work. So until next week, as always, folks, keep your shutters clicking. Keep your editors editing. And now keep Elements premiering, right? Let's learn together and keep paying it forward. That's why I do these shows. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back here next week on Photography Weekly. Bye for now, guys.